Welcome to Hispanic Voices. My name is Gilbert Hernandez, and I'm the host of the show. Today I have a young man, he's a rising star in our community, Sergio Rodriguez. He's the currently he works as the coordinator of Veteran Affairs at Medaille College. Welcome, Sergio.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Gilbert.
I want to start the show with letting the audience know a little bit about yourself.
Sure.
Where you came from and how you came to settle in Buffalo, and then we talk a little bit about your work at Medaille and how that integrates into the issues in our community. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was born in the Dominican Republic. I lived there for 10 years, the first 10 years of my life. My parents brought my sister and I to live here in America in Long Island, New York, a small town called Copiague. And
how far ago was that?
That was back in 1990 when I came to the United States. And I lived there in Copiague until basically I joined the military.
Okay.
And joined the United States Marine Corps right after high school, essentially. Signed up for 4 years active duty, but I was put on stop loss, you know, because of the war and everything. Though I didn't serve in combat.
Okay. So you didn't go overseas to
Iraq or
Afghanistan? Afghanistan, okay.
Yes, but I did go overseas, just not those two particular countries, yes.
And how did you manage, how did you kind of work yourself to Buffalo?
Well, after my time in the military, I wanted to do two things. One is get a formal education, go to college, and the other thing is purchase my first home. And when I was saving up, you know, to put a down payment on my first home, Long Island just seemed very cost prohibitive. So I was told by a family member that I had here at the time that the prices here of properties are very reasonable, and I decided to make the move. I didn't think too much about it. I just
Did you know where Buffalo was in relationship to Long Island?
I knew distance-wise what it was, but in terms of you know, culture and everything else, I really didn't. I didn't have any idea.
Yeah. So and how old were you when you made that trek?
So it was in July of 2003, so that would put me at 23 years old.
And you came to go to school where, UB or? I
enrolled at Canisius, though I had to pretty much put all of that on hold to, you know, work full time and, you know, make things happen. I was really working 3 jobs at one time, working 70 to 80 hours a week between the 3 jobs.
And do you have a family? Were you married at this time? Or?
I'm not married. Have no children or anything like that. Just been single, and that gives me the flexibility that I need in order to accomplish many of the goals that I've set out for myself.
And one of them was to get an education. And did you major in Canisius? Did you get your degree from Canisius, or did you move out of it?
I did not. I got my degree from Medina College. That's where I had my associates in science of business. And then I got my bachelor's degree from Duval College. Currently, I'm working on my master's in organizational leadership at Medina College while working full-time as well.
Okay. And what else do you know? I mentioned that you are working also at Medina College, so you're both a student and an employee. And what kind of work do you do for them? Tell me a little bit about Medaille and why was that good for you when you came to Buffalo?
You know, I have to say, Medina College has been a blessing for me. It really has in many ways. I'm not certain whether I would have been able to, you know, finish my degree if not for the delivery system that they have. Me being a working adult, you know, bills need to be paid. The way that they allowed me to finish a degree was very critical to me making that decision. So basically 1 night a week.
They worked around your schedule right well.
It worked perfectly. So I was able to go to school full-time while at the same time working full-time, and that was just a perfect combination. I didn't know of any other college that did that, and I mean, the school is just
Now you were already out of the of the Marines, or are you still part of the Marine service?
I did 5 years active duty total. I signed up for 4, but they put me on stop loss. But yes, I was out by then. By the time I came to Buffalo, I was completely out of the military.
Now, you mentioned, what was stop loss? What is that?
Stop loss is essentially when there is an emergency, a crisis, or we're in a period of war that the military considers certain military occupational specialties or certain battalions or units
too important,
that either too important or they just want to stop loss of troops. And that's really what the term
so the stop loss is of troops.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so they don't want people leaving when they're in action.
Exactly. Okay. They're for fear of losing the expertise, the experience, and you know, perhaps individuals not enrolling into the military.
That makes sense. Now, did they help you financially pay for your college, or?
Yes, they did, and that's really the. You know what, you give to your country, but it really does give back to you. The Montgomery GI Bill has been critical for me to finish my education. Without that support, it would have been very difficult for me to accomplish that goal.
Now, when you were going to school, were you working for Medaille, or were you working on other? Now, you're working for Medaille now.
Now, as of July of last year, of 2010. Prior to that, I worked as the Deputy Director of the Erie County Veterans Agency.
Okay.
Working for the Collins administration, and I did that for about 2.5 years there.
And what kind of work did that involve you in?
Well, at the Erie County Veterans Agency, essentially what we do is we provide any and all services to veterans. We assist them with the process of applying for a service-connected disability, for education benefits, property tax exemptions, home loans, you name it, we assist the veterans with any services that they may need. So we go through annual trainings and things of that nature.
And how many veterans are in this area?
Erie County has roughly 100,000 veterans. It's the 3rd most populated county in the state of New York after Suffolk and Nassau County in Long Island, actually.
And how is that? Maybe 10% of the population is veteran?
That's exactly right. It's about 10% of the population in Erie County.
What's the mix veterans, minority?
In terms of minorities, you know what? I do not know those figures. I hope that it would reflect the population in the county. I can tell you that at the Erie County Veterans Service Agency, we did service a lot of minority members, and I think it was disproportionate with the actual population as a whole. You know, many times minorities find themselves needing services that the County Veterans Agency provides.
Okay, and so there was. When you say disproportionate, what do you mean in terms of services? Or?
Oh, in terms of, for example, when I was in the Marine Corps, I would say perhaps in the neighborhood of 20 to 30% were minority that were enrolled in the Marine Corps. However, the services that we ended up providing at the Erie County Veterans Agency was more so, I would probably say it was more like in the majority of minorities that we provided, as opposed to, you know, the other way around.
Okay, but what I mean, is there anything the county is doing to really enhance that and integrate a little bit more the services into the minority communities?
Absolutely, and you know what? One of the things I did, having a leadership position at the County Veterans Agency and being a minority, is really go out into the community and advocate for veterans. I mean, that allowed us to really kind of focus more on the minorities. Being in downtown, in the city, in the Rath building, we're in a very central location where it's easy for folks that are in that, you know, neighborhood or that community to come just downtown and get those services.
And take advantage of the services that veterans have actually earned, really.
That's correct. And well, the thing is that there are homeless veterans benefits. There are, you know, and when we look at that particular group, that tends, unfortunately, to be minorities. And add on top of that, that more than that veterans
minority, right?
Exactly, and just to make things even, I guess, worse, veterans have more than twice the national rate of homelessness than the general population. So that just augments, yes,
oh, wow.
Yep, more than twice the rate. So that just augments the whole minority veterans.
And what kind of services did the county have to respond to that need? So, did they provide housing for homeless, or? We
don't provide direct housing to the homeless veterans. The VA already has, the federal U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, they have a homeless center at 1298 Main Street above the St. Vincent de Paul.
Okay.
So there's no reason to duplicate any services in that sense.
Okay.
So what we did is we had a really good relationship, and we still maintain a really good relationship with the homeless center that the VA has.
Okay. All right. Let me backtrack a little bit, go back to Medaille, and you're now the coordinator of veteran services at Medina College. Are you doing the same kind of work you were doing for the county, or is there some different
some
functions?
Things overlap.
Okay.
I have to tell you, Medina College has allowed me to maintain my accreditation with the American Legion and the New York State Division of Veterans Affairs, which in turn allows me to provide services beyond just education benefits to the student veterans population that we serve. So, case in point, I have a veteran coming to me. I assist them with their post-9/11 GI Bill benefits, the New York State Veterans Tuition Award, and education benefits. But they've also been diagnosed with PTSD, traumatic brain injury, perhaps their back was injured, and they've never thought about filing a claim, or they've attempted to, but because the system is so cumbersome, there's so much red tape, it really discourages them from applying for these benefits. So that's where I come in. I can actually be their advocate officially and present their claims on behalf of the VA.
And you can facilitate them through the system.
Exactly, which is something that other colleges really don't provide. Me having that accreditation really.
Now, what does that mean, accreditation? How you said they allowed you to keep it or have it?
Maintain it. Well, every year you must go for a training.
Okay.
So we go.
So
to
they
Syracuse.
allow you to do the training and pay you for it?
Exactly. So they cover that. It allows us to provide services beyond just education. And so on a technical basis, you can say that my job is to assist our student veterans population with their education benefits.
Right.
However, we go far and beyond that because of my accreditation.
Right. Because of so you're able to help them in other areas that may not necessarily be related to Medina College.
That is precisely correct.
Right.
And I'm very thankful that the school allows me to do that.
That is something.
And they're very, very supportive.
They're very supportive of that. Okay, that's very good. Okay, so a veteran comes to your office
yes, sir.
And applies for educational benefits. What you mentioned that there's some bureaucratic, that a lot of times there's so much red tape that veterans get discouraged.
That's correct.
What kind of process would that person have to go through with you there?
With me there, well, the first thing I would ask the veteran is we need to obtain something called the Report of Separation, which is the DD-214 form.
Okay.
That essentially tells me everything that the life history of the veteran in terms of what type of awards they got, how long they were in the service, what medals were they put on stop loss, and things of that nature. It's basically the key that unlocks all of the benefits that a veteran is eligible for.
Do the medals in a way impact on the level of service?
Yes, it does.
Educationally that they can get? Absolutely,
and I'll give you an example.
Give me some examples. I never knew that.
Absolutely. Oh, for example, there's something called the post-9/11 GI Bill, which is a benefit that was signed into law back in 2009 and became effective as of August 1st of 2009. And it's a much more complex benefit than, let's say, the Montgomery GI Bill.
Okay.
It goes based on how much time of active duty you've served. It also gives the veteran a living stipend in addition to assisting them with their tuition and fees at the school. and it also gives them a book stipend. Some veterans qualify. Suppose that a veteran only served 90 days of active duty after 9/11. That veteran will qualify for 40% of their tuition assistance from the VA, their living stipend, and also their book stipend. So there's a gap there. There's about a 60% gap there. In that case, if that veteran has been to Iraq or Afghanistan, they have a campaign medal, combat medal, or an expeditionary medal, they now qualify for Purple Heart. Oh yes, without a doubt. Actually, a Purple Heart pretty much puts you in for a lot of benefits that other veterans may not be eligible for. That being the case, there's a New York State Division of Veterans Affairs benefit called the New York State Veterans Tuition Award. That covers up to $2,398 per semester towards their tuition. As you see, that would fill in the gap.
Under 60%.
Under the 60% gap that the veteran would otherwise be responsible for. In addition, Medina College offers something called the Vets Scholarship. All honorably discharged veterans qualify for this scholarship for up to $10,000 of their tuition. So even in the event
per semester or per year?
For the program as a whole.
For the whole program, okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And now they can use up to $10,000 basically to fill in that gap. So in theory, if a veteran didn't have a campaign medal or combat medal or an expeditionary medal, they can tap into the Medina College scholarship, which helps fill in that gap.
And in order to do that, do you need to have
documentation?
No, I mean good grades. I mean what? I mean they automatically get the scholarship?
They get the scholarship so long as there is a tuition need.
Oh, all right. So it's based on need. If they need it, they get it.
If they need it, they get it. That's absolutely correct. And all they have to do is have an honorable discharge.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, no, that's pretty good. And this would be if you're a veteran.
You're a veteran.
And if you want an education.
I'm sorry?
If you're a veteran out in the community and you want an education, you can have one.
That's precisely right. That's exactly what it accomplishes.
And to do that, they would call Sergio Rodriguez.
They would call me, and I'd be happy.
And we have a phone number. Give me your phone number, because that's good stuff. You're right.
Well, my phone number, I have two actually. One is 716-932-2543, and the other one is 716-462-7629. But I can always also be reached via email at srr37@medaille.edu.
Okay, that's srr37@medaille.edu.
.edu, yes, sir.
.edu. Okay, good, because those are great benefits. Now, you also mentioned that if a veteran comes in need of medical health services, okay,
that's correct.
And you have a relationship with the veteran hospital,
the VA hospital on Bailey Avenue.
And what other health facilities? Just the VA?
Well, there are several clinics around the area in Western New York, in addition to the Buffalo VA Medical Center.
Okay.
So really, it depends. Sometimes, if you have a veteran where transportation is an issue, they may prefer to go to a clinic. But the services at the VA clinics are limited.
Right.
There are also services for veterans that just simply don't have any transportation, any means of transportation, where the VA provides, as long as you let them know ahead of time, they can go ahead and pick you up and take you there.
Now, where would these clinics be located?
They're literally spotted all throughout Western New York.
Okay, so they're all over the city, all over the metropolitan.
Hamburg has clinics, Cheektowaga,
any of them near the West Side?
The closest to the west side would be the Buffalo VA Medical Center.
The Buffalo VA Medical Center.
Which is at 3495 Bailey Avenue.
Okay. So if they wanted to get some services, any kind of services, they can contact you. Because
absolutely. Literally any veterans benefits, period, whether it's federal level, state level, or county level, I am trained to provide assistance for that
And
veteran.
This would be to the general public. This is not just to the minority community. You're there to service
really primarily any student veteran would be the focus. However, I've assisted veterans also in the community.
Not necessarily been students.
Exactly, which have been referred, and I would never turn, that veteran down, However, there are, the Erie County Veterans Agency still provides, those type of services.
And they're located where?
They're located at 95 Franklin Street on the 8th floor of the Rath building.
Okay. Now, we talked a little bit before I put you on the show. I mean, you mentioned a memorial.
Yes.
And talk to me a little bit about that Hispanic Veteran Memorial.
Yes, sir. And this is actually something that Medina College has been very supportive of as well. There is a group of veterans, Hispanic veterans, in the community. We banded together to form a committee for something called the Western New York Hispanic American Veterans Memorial. Okay. We've accomplished quite a bit in a short amount of time. We have a designated space there at the Buffalo Naval and Military Park that has been set aside for this memorial.
Oh, really? By the local authorities or by the state? Oh.
By Colonel Pat Cunningham. Okay. And he is the director of the Buffalo Naval and Military Park there. Okay.
So you guys went to him and he...
We've showed him our plans and a blueprint of the memorial. Okay, great. And he was very, very supportive of this memorial being placed alongside other memorials there at the Buffalo Naval and Military Park.
And you guys scanned the area and picked out the place, or?
Yes, we went to the area and we actually got a very prime location, if not perhaps the one of the better prime spots that he provided, he designated for this particular memorial. It's a very, very prime location where one of the ships there is the backdrop to this memorial.
Beautiful. How big is 1 acre, 2 acres? Or?
The size, I believe, is about 20 by 25 feet in space. Right. I wouldn't go as far as acres because of the limited space. Right. If you go there where the ships are and you will go alongside those memorials. So it's a pretty sizable space for the limited space that's available.
Now, have you guys already raised the money to build the memorial, and have you already have the shape and what the memorial is going to look like, or you're still working on it?
Well, we have a chief project architect. His name is Brad Wells. He works for the UB School of Architect. Okay. And he signed on board for this project. We've also gotten support, financial support from Councilman Rivera's office. Okay. And he's been
very supportive. Yeah.
Very supportive and instrumental in this project moving forward. Good. So we're very, very thankful for that. We're having a meeting this coming Wednesday, a fundraiser meeting. So we're just beginning to ramp up our efforts in terms of fundraising. Up until this point, it's just been laying down the groundwork, securing a site, getting a project architect, getting the design and the blueprint set. So right now, going forward, it's really our focus is to
raise money for the...
to raise funds, yes, sir.
It's to raise funds to build it.
To build this memorial.
And how much is that going to be? How much
it's going to be upwards of $100,000. Okay. Our estimate is about $125,000 actually.
And has the architect already made some designs, or?
Yes, he has. Okay. Yeah, Brad Wells has made some designs which we have in our possession, and that will be part of our fundraising strategy to provide this attachment along with the proposals.
Now, this is to honor Western New York Hispanic veterans.
Yes, sir.
For all the wars, or?
For all the wars.
Okay.
Essentially, the contributions that Hispanic American veterans have made to our country, and this is meant to recognize their sacrifice that they've made for our country.
Now, would that include names, or would this?
It's a kind of like a yes and no. Okay. The monument itself will not have any names inscribed in it.
It would just be for the unknown soldier.
Yeah. Yes, it'll have a soldier kneeling in front of the M16A2 service rifle and the helmet and the boots as well. However, there are brick there are brick pavements that a person can, if they're interested in having a particular veteran's name inscribed on it,
right.
it will be placed on the ground. So in that sense, there will be names.
Okay.
However, on the main monument itself, there won't be any names.
Yeah, only, but there'll be names in the monument unit.
Yes, exactly. And surrounding the monument to be the 21 Latin American flags for each country.
And how would they get their name on it? I mean, is this a free process to, or do they have to buy?
Exactly, they would have to. You know, unfortunately, because of the expenses that would be incurred as part of making this a reality, it would have. It would be more of a person would have to donate a particular amount of money to have their name inscribed.
And they have to be deceased, or it could be?
Correct. It would have to be a veteran that has been deceased.
It's been deceased.
It's a memorial, yep. Okay,
and couldn't the Department of Veteran Affairs pick that up?
That's a tough one. I'm not sure if that's part of their mission, essentially, but I got to tell you, the VA, we're very fortunate in Buffalo. We have one of the better VA hospitals in the nation. We have great leadership there with Mr. Bill Feely. We are very fortunate to have the kind of network that exists here in the veterans community in the Buffalo, Niagara region. It's truly exceptional, especially when you relate that to the VA as a whole. But the VA is improving. They're improving every single time. There's always, there is a concerted effort to provide better services to veterans. It's not perfect, but it's come a long ways over the years.
The fact that they have you working for them, to me, is an improvement.
Thank you.
We only have a few minutes. Is there anything you want to say to the audience? You mentioned about this memorial, how important it is to raise some money, and you're contemplating a fundraiser.
Yes, we will be having.
Give me a little bit background on that.
Well,
or have you settled on it yet?
We haven't. We have different approaches that we will be discussing, including corporate sponsors and dignitary support in the community, representatives. Again, Councilman Rivera has been just very supportive, and we're very thankful that he's really been assisting us with this process, and he's been instrumental again. And also individual support. So we're really kind of taking a multifaceted approach to our fundraising efforts. So we've established committee heads for each strategy.
For each strategy. Now, you mentioned you needed to raise maybe $100,000. How far are you into that?
125. Well, considering that we haven't made any formal attempt at fundraising, we're just literally Wednesday will be our first meeting to really focus on that. We're far away from our goals right now. Okay, great. But we have enough seed fundings where we're able to. And
you have a strategy that you think you can raise the money. I think moving along the corporate end of it, with getting corporations involved, I think will get you quite far into that money that you need.
Absolutely.
Okay. Give me your phone number one more time for folks out there that are looking for veteran services. Well, we got it. We're done.